Hey guys, it's Michael here. In today's video I want to share with you 10 tips on how to curb hunger while fasting. Tips that I've used over the years to help me fast longer, to extend my fasts. But before we get started, I want to share a couple of things. One is I'm not a medical doctor, so nothing in this video should be considered medical advice. You might also see affiliated links in the video in the description. If you use those links, I might get a commission. That doesn't change my editorial integrity, but it helps make this channel happen. Speaking of supporting the channel, if you want to do that, subscribe please, like the video, and with that, we're gonna get started. I should also mention that I have a lot of resources on my blog that go into much more detail on the subject of fasting and hunger and how to curb hunger while fasting, with all the scientific rationale behind them and tips on how you can implement them and mitigate maybe some of those issues. So check that out. I won't be able to cover all of that in this video since I don't want to make it an hour long. So highly recommend you check out the links down in the description. Now, one thing I want to bring up as well is, what are some of the reasons why you might feel hungry? And that's important to understand because it can then help you pick maybe the right tip on how to curb that hunger. But there are a couple of reasons. Some are fairly obvious, some might be less obvious. One is you're running low on fuel. That's obviously, if you haven't eaten in a while, if you're running out of glucose and ketones or fatty acids maybe, then you're feeling hungry. And there are certain ways on how you can mitigate them by becoming more metabolically flexible, etc. So check out the links in the description to find out more about that. Number two, it might just be time to eat. If you always have a meal at a certain time, then your body automatically releases certain hormones like ghrelin at the time where you're used to eating. So if you always have breakfast at 10 and then one day you skip breakfast, you might still feel hungry around 10 because that's your usual eating time. But you should know that that feeling subsides usually within an hour or two. So you just have to bridge it for a little bit before you feel not hungry again. You might also be dehydrated. So sometimes mild dehydration can manifest as hunger because the brain cannot always tell the difference. You might be tired, you might be stressed, both of which increase your hunger hormone levels and making you feel hungry. You might had too much alcohol before starting your fast, which can drive up your appetite, and a number of other things. You might have a medical condition, you might be on certain medications that make you more hungry. So there are several reasons why you might feel hungry. But with that out of the way, let's get into the top 10 tips that you can use to curb hunger while fasting. Number one is to consume a diet that's high in protein and fat and low in carbohydrates. And that's because both fat and protein digest slower than carbohydrates generally, and they help you maintain stable blood sugar levels. So if your blood sugar doesn't spike, it's much easier to remain satiated and to not feel hungry or craving for food quickly again. Number two is to use exogenous ketones. Now, ketones are the preferred fuel source of the brain, and they're the foundation of the ketogenic diet. When you're in ketosis, your body makes ketones to fuel many, if not most, cells in your body, including your brain. And you can use ketones, if you're not on a ketogenic diet, you can leverage ketone supplements or exogenous ketones as they're called, and use them to fuel your brain and certain other organs of your body without breaking your fast. One thing that I should point out is it very much depends on what your fasting goals are that determine which one of those 10 tips you can apply without breaking your fast. But ketones are generally safe and they're an excellent way to not only improve your mental clarity, to keep you fueled, and it's in particular fueling the brain that's so important when you're fasting, because if your brain thinks it's starving, it does everything it can to make you eat. And if your brain is satisfied, you can sustain your fast significantly easier. Number three is to increase your electrolyte intake. Especially if you're fasting, one of the first things your body does is it releases glycogen from your liver and muscle tissue to make glucose available as for fuel. And when that happens is you flush out a lot of water, so you have to pee more often, and with that you lose electrolytes. And if you're low on electrolytes, especially sodium, then you might feel low in energy and fatigued and not so good, and it makes you feel more hungry as well. So by increasing your electrolyte intake while fasting, it makes it significantly easier. My favorite electrolyte supplement is Element. That's what we typically use here at home, and I have a link down below in the description where you can get a free sample pack with any order, so check that out. Number 4 is you can consume what's called acacia fiber. It's spelled A-C-A-C-I-A, I think. It's a soluble fiber that makes you feel full without breaking your fast fast, in particular if your fasting goals involve autophagy and improving insulin resistance. Now, if you want to improve your gut microbiome, and that's the reason why you fast, then I would not consume anything, not even fibers that don't have any calories and that your body cannot use for energy. But if you're not after gut repair, then acacia fiber is an excellent way to make you feel full without providing any energy to your body. Number 5 is to expose yourself to mild stressors, and that could be either exercise, it could be sauna bathing, it could be cold plunging. Any of those hormetic stressors are excellent to not only distract you, which is we're gonna talk about here in a little bit, but it also sometimes helps to release a little bit of glycogen to make energy available and make you feel less hungry. And it also impacts your leptin and ghrelin levels. So whenever I work out, I don't feel hungry, and typically I don't feel hungry until at least an hour or so after my workout, before I start feeling, well, I need some energy to make up for the one that I burned during the workout. So the way I leverage that is I typically work out towards the end of my fast to extend it by another hour or two without feeling hungry. Number 6, distract yourself. That's one of the best ways to not feel hungry. If I'm traveling, if I'm busy, if I'm out and about, if I do stuff, like the other day we fasted and I start digging a hole for our new rabbit cage. We're gonna have meat rabbit soon. And so by operating that machinery and digging that hole, I had other problems than thinking about how hungry I was. So distraction is a great way to take your mind off eating and to extend your fast without feeling crappy. Number 7 is to schedule your fasting hours overnight, because when you're sleeping, you don't feel hungry, you don't feel anything, you're sleeping. And so typically what I do is I start my fast after my last meal. I try to have an early dinner, maybe somewhere between 4 and 5, and I go to bed at 9. So I'm not hungry during my last few waking hours, and then I'm sleeping where I'm not hungry either, and then the next morning I go work out, so I'm not hungry for another 1 hour or 2, and so I can easily hold my fast without ever feeling hungry for at least 16 hours. Very easy. Number 8 is to drink sparkling water. So as I've mentioned before, mild dehydration can manifest as hunger, but in particular the bubbles in sparkling water give you a sensation that reduces your feeling of hunger. It's interesting how that works, but it does work. Scientists have found out that just the sensation of those bubbles in your mouth make you feel less hungry. And it helps with staying hydrated as well, so it's a double win. Number 9 is to drink what's called bulletproof coffee, and that's basically black coffee with fat, either in the form of butter or MCT oil or a combination thereof. And you can also add some of that acacia fiber I've mentioned before. So when I do prolonged fast, maybe 48 hours or so, I have 2 cups of coffee, typically in the morning, black coffee with MCT oil. I typically use liquid organic C8 oil. I'm gonna link that down below. And add some grass-fed or pastured butter and a tablespoon of acacia fiber, and that keeps me satiated for hours without feeling hungry. So you can use that with tea as well if you want to. I don't know how good tea tastes with butter, but you could try that out, or any other beverage really, as long as it's non-caloric and ideally doesn't have any sweeteners whatsoever, caloric or otherwise. Number 10 is to chew gum. Now the problem with gum is most of the gums you can find in the store contain microplastics and other ingredients that you don't really want to have in your body at all. But if you can find good natural gum, the sensation of chewing and the creation of saliva in your body, the stimulation of saliva actually also suppresses hunger. So it can help with you not feeling hungry, especially if you want to leverage it towards the end of your fast. Now with that, we're gonna wrap it up. Again, I have more information and more scientific research on all of those tips and how you can implement them on my blog post. I'm gonna link it down below, so check that out. But if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, let me know in the comments what I could have done better. Until next time.